Good evening, race fans. Welcome to CRN's live coverage of the Virtual Velocity Racing Xfinity or O'Reilly Series, whatever you want to call it these days. We are here at Kansas Speedway, and hopefully these drivers don't act like the scarecrow. They got a little brain in them and can have a better race. Certainly Bristol tested some of the drivers last week, not just for VVR, but even for the core O'Reilly Series. Bristol was a bit fickle this past week, but now we open it up here a little bit. We've seen Kansas play host last night with the next-gen cars. Here tonight, we're going to see the Xfinity / O'Reilly cars take to it for 100 laps of racing. Carl Hammer joined in the booth by a man that sometimes can seem like he's the tin man with no heart, but I promise you, he's got a heart. Jimmy Covert joining me in the booth here tonight.
Yeah, I think you hit that right the nail on the head with that one. Yeah, a little tough love from me sometimes. But I can promise everybody that I have a full heart in there, and I can be kind. But can and will Kansas be kind to VVR tonight? We've seen issues with the we'll call them ovalers. At some of these racetracks, trying to keep control of the cars, and yet another race here. 100 laps with the Virtual Velocity Racing League, known for their green flag running, so we're hoping to see a great one here tonight at the high banks here at Kansas. Right now they're out there finishing up qualifying and looking forward to seeing who can get it done here underneath the night. So will a tornado appear and take them off the track?
Hopefully none of these drivers are looking for Oz to grant them more fuel to finish this race, and we'll see what they can do for 100 laps. Hopefully get it green. Hopefully we get some good racing here as well. As this is race number 14 for the series. They'll have a week off, and then they'll finish their final 7 races of the season starting up on April 30th at Texas Motor Speedway. Then we'll head to Watkins Glen, Talladega, Charlotte, Nashville Superspeedway, Gateway, and the finale at Pocono to end off the Xfinity O'Reilly Series. But so far, so good here in the season. We take a look at the point standings. There we go. As the point standings, nope, that is not it. Let's try that one more time. Point standings heading into tonight, Dalton Kilroe has got a pretty sizable lead, 110 points over Derek Paulson, who's not in attendance last week. Mike Hasty only 1 more point behind in third place, and then Eric Blunt, Sean Wilder for your top 5. So we'll see who's got the hot shoe tonight. If Kilroe can notch yet another win, he's got 6 wins on the season. 12 of his 12 starts have resulted in top 10s, 10 of them being top 5. So it's the reason he's on top of the boards with so much room to spare. We'll see if he's got it here tonight again. But looking forward to it's a good one here. The unofficial home of Core for quite some time, as we've kind of mentioned a little bit last night. And it's a good fun track. It's probably second in line for me in regards to the 1.5 mile tri-ovals. Obviously, Vegas kind of being my favorite one, but this one definitely holds a special place in my heart. So we'll see who's got the hot shoe tonight as qualifying is done and dusted. Jimmy, why don't you give us a rundown of our 25 car field?
A quick rundown of tonight's starting order. It's going to be Ryan Kelly in at number 13, as we've seen up front for a lot of these races on the pole. And on the outside is going to be the number 3 of Cody Griffin. Derek Paulson and James Yerger will make up row number 2, with DJ Mitzel and Todd Merkel on row number 3. Robert Kahn and Tyler Hilton back on row number 4. Gordon Larson and Michael Taylor on row number 5. Colin Allman and Len McNeese on row number 6. Your points leader, Dalton Kilroe, along with Robert Smith, make up row number 7. Row number 8, Hilton Young with Dustin Franklin, Cole Spaulding, and Sean Wilder make up row number 9. And the remainder of your field here tonight, starting with row number 10, is going to be John Garrett with Brandon Meir and Cade Green with Eric Blount. And then Tim Lee, Michael Pratt, and Hemi Gardini, hoping not to have to sell tires tonight. Hoping he can finish here. So looking forward to seeing these drivers put on a show, and just watching Hemi out there, and he had some good times during practice, Carl.
Well, it's another, I guess, kind of status quo situation when it comes to qualifying with Dalton Kilroe not having a good qualifying effort. It's normally back half of the top 10, but outside the top 10 here tonight, back there in 13th. So we'll see if maybe he's a little bit off right now, or if he's just waiting to turn it on like he normally does here in race conditions. But Ryan Kelly starting on the pole. Good to see him back out there. We'll see if he's got what it takes to grab another win on the season, as he's already, early on in the season, gotten. Trying to see here is that he's fallen down the order quite a bit here, but he's gotten himself 3 wins on the season in his 7 starts. So a formidable foe certainly for Dalton Kilroe. We'll see who can get the better of who here tonight. But again, I'm looking forward to it. But 100 laps here at Kansas, it can go by pretty quickly, especially with VVR here at the track tonight. And looking forward to seeing them get some green flag running, since Bristol wasn't exactly kind to him last week.
Yeah, the laps can tick away here pretty quickly, but obviously, not quite sure what the fuel amount is here tonight. So we know last night they were right around 25-ish laps, and I think they could do a little bit more here with the fuel amount. I know that their goal is to basically not have to save fuel from the start when it comes to the races. Now, all the drivers understand that if a caution happens, it could turn into a fuel mileage race, and I think it's been settled for the most part on how the fuel works, as they've been just trying to do the exact same thing as they do in real life. So as far as the fuel mileage, just obviously because their races are a little bit shorter, they make it the percentage-wise down to that. So it's a pretty good guesstimate. I really think they got the fuel, I think, where they need it to be, and we just keep plugging at it because it's an interesting topic, because there's not really much to complain about here at VVR. Tim Lee does a fantastic job getting these drivers together, and they got another good field here tonight, 25 cars, as Ryan Kelly takes the green and heads off to turn number 1 with Cody Griffin on the outside.
Yeah, certainly another driver to look out for is the one starting directly in front of Dalton Kilroe. That's a 67 of Colin Allman, winner last week and winner of 2 of the last 3, as he won at Martinsville 3 weeks ago. So we'll see if the 67 can maybe grab himself another win here tonight. But right now, good start here for the field, heading off into turns 3 and 4. Going to complete our first lap here at Kansas with Ryan Kelly leading the way, Cody Griffin, Derek Paulson, DJ Mitzel, James Yerger for your top 5. I want to thank our sponsors here for the series: Goldline Guardians, Fort Worth Screen Printing, Hilton Crafts and Designs. And good to see Tim Lee back out there competing with the boys and girls out there back there in 23rd. But you just got to keep an eye on him. You don't have to wait, or you don't have to keep an eye on him right now. Probably, look around maybe lap 80 is when you'll start to see that 24 finding his way usually up there towards the back half of the top 10 at the least.
Yeah, pretty conservative driving from Tim most weeks when he does get a chance to get out there, and it's always good to see somebody that has such a busy outside life from iRacing to be able to manage the league and to come out here and run with the fellow drivers. And I think he just has just a ton of fun, just kind of ripping around here and trying to do the best he can, and he does. And there's a lot of times he can find himself in that top 10 and maybe even higher at times. So very conservative driving though from the number 24. Back a little bit here tonight, last car in the back of the pack, but longer race here tonight, a little longer than last night. But like I said, the green flags here with VVR just are pretty abundant. So but we're going to move up just a little bit and hop on board here with Sean Wilder. There's a lot of two wide battle in there. Is the 08 going down on the apron there and trying to get a run. But Sean Wilder getting a pretty good run there on the outside. So you can see the multiple lanes here early, Carl. And, we've seen some of the cars losing the rear end. Even right there with Sean Wilder, he was getting a little bit loose. So the drivers still have to, contend with a little bit looser car and just kind of be easy on that throttle and be able to feel it. And you see some of the cars up in front of Sean there doing some asphalt sliders as they come off of turn number 4. But out front is Cody Griffin, the number 3, so picking up the lead over to number 13. And it's just so easy. This track is really fun to drive, and you can find yourself over driving and burning up your tires. Now, VVR does have 2 sets of tires in the pits that they can change, so I guess you just need to be careful when you come down and when you change them and the decisions that you make. But right now, some great racing. Here's some side-by-side action, or was some side-by-side action between the 39 and 67.
Yeah, not surprised to see the 3 out front. He's no stranger to the lead here, but it's just finishing the races has been what's the bugaboo for Cody Griffin, and trying to get that win here. But Ryan Kelly, I'm not surprised to see him just kind of hang back here, maybe kind of dictate the pace a little bit here. Early on, not trying to push it too hard and really wear out those tires and wear out the fuel too early. Colin Allman now is right behind Derek Paulson as we're riding on board right here. Allman already up 5 positions, and he is up to 6th place right now. Dalton Kilroe up 3 positions as he cracks the top 10 now for the first time here tonight. Tyler Hilton also up 5 spots as he's up there in 3rd in the number 8. So some movers and shakers early on here, but we got a long one yet to go here tonight as we just complete lap number 8 here of 100. You mentioned about the cars getting loose. It's kind of been a little bit of a topic, off the airs here with some of the different leagues here with this Xfinity car. For the longest time, it was known as, kind of the dump truck. It was known as being very, very understeery, tight, to the point where it wasn't fast when it comes to the fixed setups here for iRacing, but it was a little bit more predictable, and just about anybody can get in the car and not worry too much about losing the rear end. iRacing has since gone the exact opposite way with the fixed setups here for this O'Reilly car, and I don't know if it's the name change that made them decide to switch everything up or what the case was, but it's gone the other way in the fact that it is loose. I mean, there's a reason why VVR had some cautions last week at Bristol, which we typically don't see cautions very much at all for the series, and probably a big contributing factor for the cautions that we've seen with the core O'Reilly series on Tuesday. It is a looser car. It is one that will step out pretty quickly if you're not ready for it. And any car, you get those tires a little bit flat spotted and a little bit hot, they're going to get greasy for a couple laps. And again, it's bad enough if you didn't catch it in the first place. You're going to have to work on it for a couple laps to get it back in line. But looks like so far these drivers doing a pretty good job. Some good battling up here inside the top 5.
Yeah, and the 6-7 of Colin Allman just not maybe having the qualifying run that he would like. But has driven that 67 through the field pretty quickly here as we're only on lap 12. Has gained 8 spots and up into P number 3. A little bit of a battlefield behind that number 67 is Derek Paulson. Now gets underneath the 8 of Tyler Hilton. Just a lot of good racing kind of going on, and a lot of different lines kind of being used. You can see the apron being used on the front stretch, and everybody that's here at CRN knows when that apron is available for use. I'm not a huge fan. I guess because the drivers need to be aware. If they go down there, they could end up getting stuck down there. As that driver does not have, on the outside of them, does not have to give them room to come up, and the other driver would have to slow down and try to make that turn in the corner. So I guess it's just dependent on what your positioning is on the track and who's around you and how they're driving. And these drivers have been racing around each other pretty consistently now for the past few seasons, so each other kind of knows how they drive. Now, Carl, we talked about this obviously being the race that makes the season about 2/3 over. Going on a short 1-week break and then coming back out to run the remainder of the season to the finale. But after that, I'm sure they'll take a short break, and then they're going to come back, and VVR is going to do something we haven't seen here with VVR yet on CRN, and that is change over to the trucks.
Yeah, going trucking.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of, how much different it is for some of these drivers. And is there somebody sitting in this mid-pack that prefers the trucks a little bit more and is looking forward to the next season? And I know I am. I like to see, I always like to see, the 49 of Cole Spalding getting a little loose. Been able to catch it here, but 49 having a little bit of troubles there in that last corner. And, maybe heating them tires up, falling back just a couple spots now, and everybody's kind of still holding pace where they started, and Cody's still out front, but I think he's kind of plateaued a little bit, and hopefully his tires will hold until they need to make that pit stop. Carl, we haven't seen it in quite some time because of all the cautions throughout the past 2 weeks for all the leagues here with the Xfinity cars. What's it like here for pitting at Kansas? I know you're a big fan here, so obviously you try to give the fans out there kind of a scale on the difficulty here for Kansas.
Yeah, this is one of the easier ones in my opinion. Not the easiest for sure. I would say it's it's maybe at about a 3 for difficulty as far as getting in, just because of the fact that you can enter so late and you can really gain a lot of time. I mean, you can enter halfway through 3 and 4 and get down to the bottom, but realistically, as long as you can control the car under braking and not let it really step out on you, you can get into the pit entry very, very late here, almost basically entering turn 4. You can really dive it down in there late. You got to make sure clearly that you get it down to the pit road speed by the cones, but the transition from the track down to the apron isn't terribly violent. It's not that much of a difference. I mean, you can see there's definitely banking on this track and even coming out of the corners, but it's not too much that it's going to get you out of shape. Really, it's just the braking and maybe changing up your brake bias before you get ready to come down into the pits to make sure that you're getting a lot of braking on the front end and not so much on the back end, that the back end steps out on you. But yeah, getting down into the pits is not too bad, but just like anywhere, you want to try and be aggressive because there's a lot of time to be gained or lost entering and exiting pit road. As far as the exit, all you gotta do is keep it on that wide apron there on the bottom until right there you see the blue cone. When you get onto the backstretch, the exit not terribly difficult, but again, it's wide enough that you got to be pushing it to the limit. You want to try and gain some time. You want to be one losing time on pit entry or exit for that matter, but we'll see how these drivers handle it, because right now we got a nice little run here. We're already 20 laps into this race. Again, like Jimmy said, don't know what we're looking at for fuel mileage, but I would expect at least a 1-stopper, if not a 2-stopper here tonight. Right now, Cody Griffin with a 0.3 of a second lead over Ryan Kelly, as that leads slowly dwindling down here, and Robert Smith can't keep it out the wall here in the 08. But speaking of the 8, and we mentioned Colin Ullman up 8 positions, that 8 of Tyler Hilton, I believe it's a new number for him. Certainly a new paint scheme out there as well. I mean, it looked pretty good certainly for the start of this race. He started up there in 8th, drove it all the way up to the top 3. He's fallen back now since, back to 11th position. But another one that is just a couple spots ahead of him, Todd Merkel. Great to see him out there. I know he's gone through some personal things lately. Wasn't able to make the race last week, but great to see the two back out here tonight and doing pretty well, up 3, or actually down 3 spots after starting in 6th, but still hanging inside the top 10.
Yeah, a few drivers come up through the back of the pack, but we qualify a little bit farther back than they would like. Obviously, biggest mover being Colin Allman. Dalton Kilroe, though, up 6 spots, and then John Garrett, he's up 9 spots, sitting back here, P number 10. So 66, maybe enjoying a little looser setup and ripping around here tonight and working his way up towards the front. It's been a little while since we've got to talk to John out there, but you can find John Garrett usually live over on Twitch. I believe it's John Garrett Racing, and you can go over there and watch the number 66 FOV style if you would like to see his point of view, and maybe even chat to John to see what he's up to. But good to see him out here tonight, doing well so far. go back to the back of the pier. Brandon Meir and that number 71 Watts machine come up through the field as well as he's trying to get along the side of Dustin Franklin. That's up in P13, up a couple spots from the start there as well. And Carl, I'm just wondering, obviously, you know, we're here on lap number 25 and we're about a quarter way through the race. You know, and last week not being the race that anybody wants to talk about at Bristol, probably for many of the leagues. But, you know, now kind of getting in the groove, back into running these green flag stops and trying to get great finishes. And, you know, maybe some of these drivers over driving the car early and getting the tires too hot. We see a couple drivers coming down on the pits here right now. This likes of the 66 of John Garrett, Tyler Hilton in, probably unhappy with the tires as he was falling back, and number 38 of Hilton Young. So a few drivers here in early. Maybe this could pay off for them. You know, we're here tonight, and you know we're running green so far. We're looking good, and all the drivers are taking care of their car at the moment. But even the drivers coming in, oh 67 misses.
Did not make it, and he's lucky that he get right back on the gas and got back out there, but he's going to lose quite a few positions and quite a bit of time here. Hopefully he's got the fuel to make it around here for another lap, but that's definitely going to hurt his race early on. As it looks like maybe a 3-stop strategy for some of these drivers coming in around lap number 25. Question is, can anybody make it to lap 33 and try and make this a 2-stop race? As you see, Dalton Kilrow now coming in, as is the 39, the 2, and now the 67 going to try it again here, but it just goes to the point that I was mentioning. It's easy to get into this pit lane, but you want to try and get in as late as possible, and I think Allman just tried to get in a little bit too late and overshot it there, but this should cycle through everyone except for Hemi Gherardini. We got a new leader out there in the 17 trying to stretch this thing out as he is your leader. Looks like everyone else has come in to the pits, waiting for them to shuffle back out there on the track. We'll see who is going to shuffle back into the lead of the race, but Hemi should be bringing it in this time by here on lap number 28. That will complete our pit cycle.
Yeah, so running about the same kind of fuel as they were last time, maybe just a little bit more, being able to make 28 laps here from some of these drivers, you know, some coming in a little bit earlier. I'll go ahead and bring up the tower. Let me go sit this in up here so you guys can see the number, their gap, and fit lap. And that way when I bring it up, you can see what the separation is between from the leader to that position and their pit lap that they came in. You can see Hemi Gherardini coming there at lap number 28. But Dalton Kilrow back out front, and even though he came in a lap later, is in front of the number 13 of Ryan Kelly. So able to make some big moves, probably with a great pit stop, but a little tag on the wall there. 41 getting a little tight.
Yeah, Ryan Kelly blasts on by, and the 3 of Cody Griffin was your leader heading into the pit stops, but maybe it was the lap earlier, just getting those tires cool, because majority of the field not taking tires on this pit stop. A lot of them just taking fuel only, but your leader right now, Ryan Kelly, was one of them that took tires. That's why you see him easily drive past the 3 and the 41. So he's going to try and let these tires eat here for this run. He wants to try and build up as big of a gap as possible, because he's only got one more set of tires in the pits. These drivers that are right behind him have got 2 sets of tires. Right on board right now with James Yerger. He's in the same boat with 2 sets of tires in the pits. Tyler Hilton and Colin Allman are the first ones back deeper in the top 10 that have a new set of tires on the car. You see him battling right now, getting around Todd Merkel. But I mean, only maybe about 6-7 drivers taking tires this time. But it's a gamble no matter what you do here. I kind of like this call right here. If you think this thing is going to go green, I don't mind taking the tires here on this first pit stop, especially if you are already up towards the front already. I mean, you see right now Ryan Kelly out to a 2.7, almost 3-second lead So you would assume that he's probably going to forego tires on this next pit stop and then take tires on his last pit stop. So really, he's just got to build up a big enough lead so that when he comes in on his next pit stop, it's going to be a quicker stop than everybody else taking tires. He'll get a little bit more advantage there. He's going to make that advantage last until that final pit stop, and then he'll be in the kind of the same strategy as everyone else.
Yeah, looking at everybody's lap times up front, Ryan Kelly about 1 second, a little over 1 second faster than Dalton Kilroe getting around here. Everybody else kind of sitting in here. The other fast driver with a turn of 30.6 was Colin Allman here in the 67. So trying to use those tires up as much as possible, making quick work of getting around some of these cars. And obviously the 67 will probably get by Dalton Kilroe, but you know, Dalton kind of, you know, has been in this situation before, and you know, the fact that he gained so much time with his pit entry is a big positive. It can pay off big dividends here. But Ryan Kelly out to a 5-second lead over Colin Allman and Dalton Kilroe. So really kind of taking off here. Needs to kind of make up that gap here. It's going to go away, you know. So he needs to get 20 laps, 25 laps, or 26 laps, or you know, of a green flag run here, and hopefully be able to keep that 1 second interval. And then you know, when it's his turn to be on the lesser tire, you know, the other drivers, you know, are going to use theirs up, trying to get to him. So trying to get out to a huge lead here. Colin Allman is running just slightly quicker. They're almost at the same pace. Tyler Hilton also running 31s as well. So he's also about a second faster than everybody else. So yeah, it's just nature of the beast. New tire, better tires, you get around here quicker. They just kind of, you know, whatever set they decide to double stint, Carl, they really kind of have to take care of them. So I mean, these drivers out here are really kind of like putting it all out there and hoping that you know, I don't think they would take tires next time in, just in case a caution. Yeah, just in case a caution came out late in the race, they might want to be able to at least get on the same page as everybody else. But yeah, it's a gamble for sure, taking those new tires here this earlier in the race with only 2 sets in the pits. But we're doing great here so far. We're on lap number 37 of 100. Ryan Kelly is your leader with Colin Allman in P number 2, and then you have Tyler Hilton, Dalton Kilroe, Cody Griffin for your top 5.
Yeah, it's not only is it a kind of a bad idea just because of a caution comes out, but even if a caution doesn't come out, you want some kind of fight left in your car for that the ending run for those last you know, 25 or so laps of the race. And you know, if you play your cards right, you could potentially, you know, be again right on the same page as everyone else, because I would assume everyone is going to be taking tires on that last pit stop. You have all the drivers that didn't take tires this last time. They'll be coming in taking tires on their second pit stop, and then everyone will most likely be taking their second set of tires on the third stop. So just kind of mixing up strategies here at the front are drivers like Ryan Kelly, Colin Allman, Tyler Hilton, those top 3 right now with the new tires. Dustin Franklin also took tires here. He's back there in 9th. He's made a little bit of progress through the field, but not as much probably as he's wanted to try and get in the mix for this thing. But it's definitely about a second difference up at the front of the field compared to the lap times of the drivers with the older tires. But that difference is starting to come down here a little bit. They're starting to even out here as the new tires typically do. Not sure what happened to Derek Paulson earlier on in this race. He's now about 4 laps down to the field. So I did see that he had to come into the pits. It looked like he went off track. And it looked like, it didn't even, kind of almost didn't even attempt to slow down there coming into the pit. So he ended up getting a black flag that he had to serve and towed it back to the pit. So I'm not sure if it was some hardware / mechanical issues for the 5, but back out there running last in the field right now. Colin Allman is slowly but surely running down your leader. This is the first time I think I looked up there that his lap time was actually a little bit slower than Ryan Kelly. Still a 4-second gap right now for Kelly at the front, as we are now on lap number 42. So again, the laps are ticking by here pretty quickly, and before you know it, we'll be at that halfway point and ready for pit stop number 2.
Yeah, you can see Colin just a little bit quicker through some of the sectors here, gaining time there on Ryan Kelly as these laps go by. It's not a lot, looking at lap times, Ryan was at 31.8 and Colin was at 31.7. So Colin running a little bit quicker than the field here tonight, but doing a fantastic job. So you can see even Tyler Hilton gaining a little bit of ground there on the leaders as well. So top 3 running away here, out to about 5 seconds out in front of Dalton Kilroe. Dalton Kilroe is back to a 11 seconds back from the leader. So I guess doing pretty good here, holding it pretty steady and at least a manageable time. But if Dalton could get another bingo pit stop like he did this last one, even past James Yerger coming into the pits on that last one. So that's why you see the big shift change. But Dalton Kilroe definitely nailed the pit entry here tonight, and is currently sitting in 4th, up 9 spots. No shocker, but our biggest mover is obviously the 77 of Michael Pratt, finishing 2nd last week, and getting a chance to talk to him. But doing very well again here tonight. I'm trying to get up into that top 10.
You mentioned Dalton Kilroe's pit stop. His entire pit time from the time he entered pits to the time he got back on the track, 38.62. Cody Griffin was your leader at that time, but his total pit time 39.48, so almost 0.8 of a second, 3/4 of a second difference, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it's massive on the track out here to pick up that amount of time. And he that's what Dalton Kilroe did on the pit stop, and even more on James Yerger, as he actually picked up 1.5 seconds on James Yerger's. Yerger's time was a 40.12. So 1.5 seconds, Jimmy, you give that to me at any time, I'm gonna take it. That is a big margin. That's again what you can do here at Kansas with a great entry, great exit, and great pit stop strategy call. They're only taking fuel on this last one. So Kilroe is leading all the drivers that did not take tires on the first stop, but he's in 4th place because the top 3 did take tires, and we should be seeing the cars come in here again in another 5 to 10 laps here to complete their 2nd pit stop of the race.
Yeah, the drivers obviously know that they have at least one more. They have 2 pit stops here left remaining tonight, as long as they stay green. Kind of getting in that window, even now they would still, if say a caution came out, they would still have to pit twice. So one more time and then another one. They're not anywhere near now. It all comes a little more shadier. I'll say if a caution come out like around lap 60, they still got to come in, and then looking at it more towards maybe 70, somebody might be out there thinking of like, maybe I can make this on fuel. So I mean, all those scenarios are kind of there, and sometimes the drivers think about that stuff beforehand or out on the go, or they really do trust the iRacing's kind of fuel consumption iBox that they got down there that you can use. And I do know a lot of other drivers, they do use third-party fuel calculators. I know myself, I do when I'm racing, to kind of give me a good understanding and a quick glance of what's my 5-lap average, and what's my high, what's my low, what's my max, what's my minimum, as far as it comes to the saving fuel. So, but we're not worried about fuel right now. These drivers are going all out trying to get this thing done here. And yeah, Ryan Kelly out front right now over Colin Allman, as they're now starting to get into some traffic, as Ryan Kelly looking at the back there of Hemi Curadini, trying to put him a lap down. But pit stops starting again. Len McNeese, Larson, and Garrett in here at lap 51.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to see any cautions here disrupt this, because it could end up being a really good finish with the different strategies here. We've seen enough last week at Bristol. I mean, if you would have told me there were 5 cautions in a VVR race, I would have said you're crazy. That's way too many. They had 10 more than that, 15 cautions last week. It's an anomaly, and it's one where you talk about baseball players that they'll play to what the back of their baseball card is. When it comes to average, so they may be having a slump right now, but eventually they'll get back to that average. But every once in a while they'll have a year where it's kind of an anomaly year. Well, that was an anomaly race. That's what I'm looking at as for Bristol. I mean, because you look at the cautions before that, at Michigan the week before, 1 caution, 6 at Martinsville. It's Martinsville. You got to expect at least 5 cautions there. But I mean, typically 1 to 2 cautions max is what you're going to see. And the fact that he had 15 last week, again, it leaves me scratching my head, wondering again, if it has something to do with these new iRacing fixed setups for the O'Reilly cars. But right now we are definitely in the mix of the second round of pit stops, and we'll see when everyone decides to come in. Looks like some of our leaders already came in. Allman, Kelly, and Hilton came in to get their pit stops done, and not taking tires as expected. But now we'll see how much further Dalton Kilroe wants to try and run this one out. James Yerger there in second as Cody Griffin into the pits this time by. We're past the halfway point, Jimmy. I think it's about time we crank it up, give everyone in CRN Nation a little love to hear it.
Love to hear it.
Sights and sounds of the Virtual Velocity Racing Xfinity / O'Reilly Series here at the Kansas Speedway. Caution under the Love to Hear It has really mixed things up, and all those drivers that thought they had a different plan here tonight, taking tires on that first pit stop and then trying to get a big enough lead to make it work here for the race, well, that all got wiped away with that caution. And unfortunately, they're up, you know what, creek without a paddle to try and get this win here tonight, because they still got a set of tires in the pits, but so does everyone else. And I'm sure on this last pit stop, everyone will be taking that set of tires to try and get it done here tonight. But you never know, maybe another timely caution comes out. Maybe some of the drivers decide not to take tires on that last pit stop here in hopes of another quick caution, and then they'll be sitting in the catbird seat. But it's definitely a daring option to do that for sure. Well, right now Dalton Kilroe is your leader by 1.4 seconds over James Yerger, Cody Griffin in third, Todd Merkel, Michael Pratt for your top five, as Pratt is the biggest mover of the race, starting 24th, up 19 spots in fifth. But right behind him, Brandon Mears started back there in 20th. He's up 14 spots into sixth. DJ Mitchell, Gordon Larson, and McGiardini, the pit stop, or the caution definitely helped out the 17. He's up 16 spots after starting back there shotgun on the field in 25th. He's up to 9th position. And then Michael Taylor rounds out your top 10. That's a good move. Good move. Yeah. Yeah, Allman trying to get everything he could coming into pit lane there, and goes to the outside lane to try and gain a little bit more time, I think, coming in here, as he is looking to get that set of tires and get out there. And, you know, kind of early on in the pit cycle here on lap number 74, but I think that's by design here. He wants to get those fresh tires on as quick as possible to try and get some heater laps in here. Almost kind of a short pit situation here for the 67, as 4 tires will go on and he'll be back out there and racing. But it looks like he did pick up a black flag. It looked like he was going a little bit faster than the 84, and he was speeding for the 67. And all that advantage he tried to gain by coming in is going to go by the wayside. 40-second hold for the 67, as we got Ryan Kelly, DJ Mitzel now into pit lane as well. Kilroe continues out front. Michael Pratt now going to come into the pits, as the pit stops are starting to get busy here at Kansas. And barring any kind of a late race caution, as we got a couple of drivers with meatballs. It's like him and Giardini, we talked about him a little bit too much, and Tim Lee with a meatball, and we are under a caution here, and this is going to play out very nicely for the 41, 39, 3. A lot of these drivers will have to take a look back and see what brought this caution out. Looks like a mix-up from drivers coming into the pits. What exactly happened there? See the 17 diving down to the bottom, but it brings it back up onto the track. I think Gordon Larson ended up coming down into the pits, and I'm not sure if Giardini had any room to maneuver and get around him. Without tires. Without tires, or maybe two right side tires. So interesting call here. Surprised that we didn't see, unless he did stay out. I was trying to see where some of those drivers that came in early, like the 84, Len McNeese, if he stayed out on this one. But it looks like quite a few drivers caught a lap down because they were in the midst of that pit cycle, and you can very easily go down a lap here at Kansas. So Todd Merkel looks to be your leader here. Dalton Kilroe, James Yerger, Cody Griffin, and Michael Taylor for your top 5. I got Gordon Larson, Tyler Hilton, Cade Green. Right now, Brandon Meir in 9th, and I believe that is it for your lead lap cars. I believe there's only 9 cars on the lead lap, unless, yeah. Unless he can't just lie to me. And looks like we'll get some more cars getting some wave around, so that could be why, as we were waiting to see some cars get back on the lead lap that way. But either way, late race caution here, as we're going to get this thing back underway with 20 laps to go. He's gonna have, no, it's not a hold, but he's gonna have to come back in under green because he came in. If you come in on the wrong lap, it is a drive-through penalty, so that is gonna hurt the 19 for sure. But back out there, gonna rejoin the field right now, and it's gonna be Todd Merkel leading the way out here right now. Biggest mover of the race, Michael Pratt, right here. You see him in 9th place, just getting that lap back here and back on the lead lap. He's gonna have to fall behind everyone else to the back of the pack, but either way, still in the lead lap. Got some fresh tires, or at least 2 fresh tires. We'll see what he can do here for the rest of this race, as we'll double him up here. It's time to fire him back off here at Kansas.
Yeah, as I had myself double muted, but I am back. I am still here. It's not just Carl in the booth. We're back under green, 20 laps to go. As that caution kind of happened here late in the race, mixing things up. But Dalton Kilroe takes back the lead almost instantly over Todd Merkel, and the likes of the 3 of Cody Griffin trying to get out there and give Dalton a run for his money.
And already Dalton to the outside and taking over the lead. Now James Yerger all over the back of the 2. The 2's going to slide up to the top of the track. Gordon Larson looking to get down to the bottom as well. So Yerger's going to take over 2nd. And now battle for 3rd as the 2 of Merkel starting to drop back through the field here as he's getting eaten up. Gordon Larson now to the inside, going to take over 4th position. Cody Griffin is your leader out front, trying to run away. He is good on the short runs. We only got a 20-lap run to the end of this thing. Can he hold on to it is the question.
Yeah, he can hold on, or he should be able to hold on to it, hopefully. And Cody's, was pretty quick at the beginning of the race, and now fresh tires give him that advantage. And I know Dalton would love to win here tonight, like he would pretty much every week. But I'm sure the points do sit in his mind a little bit, having such a nice big lead, and just pads the numbers even more, kind of make it almost not wrapped up yet, but getting closer and closer each week. To just being able to kind of show up and just have some good finishes. And like you said earlier in the broadcast, you had 100 and some points here, and we're about 2/3 of the way through the season. So Dalton could probably even take a week off as far as that's concerned with points. But out here running in the top 3 at the moment, NP number 2. Drivers trying to figure stuff out. There is 15 cars on the lead lap. We've got a few black flags that'll be in Sir Blount in the pits, Smith's in the pits, Kahn's in the pits, and Cade Green with a black flag.
I want to thank everyone for tuning in here tonight. If you haven't done so yet, hit that like and subscribe. Get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer, as we got our sister channel about to kick off their race with the Core GT series, as Mike and John will be in the booth for that one. Looking forward to seeing hopefully a little bit better race for them as well. I know they had some rough start on the last race out, but looking to hopefully turn it around for this week as the series heads to Mugello, a track that I kind of like. I just always kind of like the layout there from other games, not just on iRacing. So that's where they're going to be heading to tonight for their 1 hour race, as that is race number 3 for the season. But here we got to finish this one. I'll be at 15 laps to go, down to 14 now as Cody Griffin crosses the line. He is your leader by 1.8 seconds. You see him trying to race off into the distance. Does not want to see a caution for the life of him at all. We had 2 cautions here tonight. He does not want to see a third. He wants that 3 in victory lane here tonight. And hopefully this nice little short run to finish off will play out nicely for him. But it is certainly not over just yet. And I'm sure Dalton Kilrow would love to have one more crack at the win here tonight. James Yerger up there as well. And not letting Dalton Kilrow go by any means. Gordon Larson just kind of lying and waiting for the 39 and 41 maybe to start working on each other. As you see, pass to the inside as Michael Taylor gets around. Michael Taylor gets around. He is in 5th place right now in the 98. Now Tyler Hilton gets around the lap car of Colin Allman, as they are your top 6. Brandon Muir, Ryan Kelly, Todd Merkel, and Michael Pratt for your top 10. Fortunately, Robert Kahn looks like just had dropped due to upload, so packet loss for Robert Kahn. And this is the second night in a row we've seen a driver get kicked out due to connectivity, and it's amazing. I seen that and like, Robert Kahn was in this race. I mean, we normally talk about him by this point, Jimmy, and the fact that we didn't talk about 21 at all, I don't know what kind of race he had going on here tonight. He started up there in 7th, but I didn't even realize he was in this race here tonight.
Yeah, Robert being kind of quiet here tonight is usually up towards the front, battling it out and or coming through the field, but he could just pretty much hold steady. I think he was on camera there for a little bit. I remember seeing him, but just no immediate action around the number 21, and to kind of get a pack of loss to end your race is disheartening. It's just as bad as maybe sleeping through half the race in your rig.
Not saying, just saying. Well, we got 10 laps to go here at Kansas before we crown another winner on the series. The lead is starting to dwindle little by little, as Dalton Kilrow was able to check off 0.2 of a second that last time by. The lead down to about 1 1/4 seconds, and if he keeps coming 0.2 at a time, he will catch that 3 before the end of this race. So not done and dusted just yet for Cody Griffin. Did he use up those tires a little bit too early on this run? Does he have any left to battle the 41 if he gets there?
Yeah, it might be Cody maybe backing off just a little bit to save a little bit of tire, and I know he's trying not to let Dalton get too close, and maybe give him that tease distance. Let him work a little harder and try to burn his tires off. So the car trying to chase it down, his tires will be all hot and not as good as if you're keep them at a little bit cooler. So could be a tactic that the 3's using here tonight, or just kind of burnt the tires off to what he's got, and is going to try to run this thing here to the end. But Cody Griffin is your leader over Dalton Kilrow, and James Yerger having a great run here tonight in number 39. And he got passed by Dalton Kilrow on the first pit cycle, coming into the pits, but is hung right to the back bumper of that number 41 here pretty much all night. So James doing a fantastic job with his run. Brandon Muir, obviously getting a little bit of luck throwing his way here tonight, up in the top 10, up 13 spots in that number 71. And Michael Pratt obviously being able to be on the lead lap, as well as we only have 13 drivers on the lead lap. So Dustin Franklin coming in the pits here. And maybe for a splash and go?
Yeah, splash and go. So not sure what happened that the 73 is that short on fuel here, as we're down to 6 laps to go. It'll be 5 here at the line. Last time by, it was just about even on lap times. The lap before that, it was 1.5 tenths of a second. But this past time by the start-finish line, Cody Griffin was actually 100th of a second fast. So we'll keep an eye on the times here as across the line here one more time. And it's going to be 5 laps to go. That time by, the lead is at 0.8 seconds. And it was another 1.5 tenths of a second for Dalton Kilroe, reeling in your leader, Cody Griffin, and I think he's going to be able to get there, but again, can he get there in time? And does he have time to make a pass is the question, as we got a good battle back here. Back half of the top 5 is the 8 of Tyler Hilton to the inside, trying to get 5th away from Michael Taylor. Taylor trying to make it a nice payday and finish in the top 5 here, pun intended. But Colin Allman, unfortunately, not in the mix here for position. He is a lap down after getting the black flag, speeding on pit road. Kind of took him out of this race. But laps are ticking down here. 4 to go here for Cody Griffin. He's holding strong right now, keeping it at 0.3 tenths of a second. So maybe like Jimmy said, he's just kind of, letting off here a little bit to make sure he has some kind of tires to fight if he needs it. 3 to go here at Kansas.
Yeah, it's one thing to gain all that ground up. It's another to gain the ground and have enough tire to get around your competitor that you're trying to overtake. And some drivers that have been around for a while, obviously the I rating here is pretty high for a lot of mid to high for some of these drivers that run up front. So they've been in these situations before, I'm sure. 3 laps to go, and 0.8 seconds is a pretty tall task. Make that 2 laps to go as they cross the start finish line. So Cody Griffin just needs to hang on for a few more laps here tonight at Kansas. But yeah, we've got a couple just gonna go back here with Michael Taylor and the gang back here, because it's been a pretty good battle. You can see Tyler Hilton getting around Gordon Larson. Now moving Gordon Larson at 0 back to 5th. The number 8 car moving up into the top 4. So great racing here towards the front of the pack. Your interval between your leader and Dalton Kilroe here is 0.7. So it doesn't look like it's going to be enough here unless something happens or the 3 makes a mistake. Cody Griffin should coast here to a win as they exit through 3 and head into 4. Coming out of the corner, the number 3 will be your winner here tonight at Kansas.
Cody Griffin taking home the checkered flag and doing a little celebrating across the line as he finally gets it done, finally takes home a win here in the series. It seems like he's been in play quite a few times, but it's usually, again, the short run speed is there, just could not find the long run speed long enough to get him a victory, but gets it here tonight. And his 4th top 5 of the season is going to amount to his first win of the season. Dalton Kilroe going to have to settle for 2nd place. A good run for James Yerger. Start up there in 4th, finished in 3rd. Tyler Hilton, Gordon Larson for your top 5. Michael Taylor, Brandon Meir, Todd Merkel, Ryan Kelly, and Michael Pratt for your top 10. As we had a couple cautions, and some of the cautions being at just strange times in the fact that it was right around the pit windows, so it really mixed up this field. Or if it stayed green, it could have been we could have been talking about the likes of Ryan Kelly or Colin Allman, some of the drivers that went on a different strategy here tonight, but that's not the case. Cody Griffin gets to do a little burnout, little victory dance here on the front stretch. We had a chance to talk to him and your other 2 in the top 3, but in the meantime, Jimmy, why don't you give us a final rundown of the results?
Rundown of tonight's results here. Cody Griffin in number 3 will be your winner here tonight, gaining 1 position, starting on the outside pole. Dalton Kilroe finishes in P number 2, your points leader for VVR here this season so far. James Yerger in 3rd, Tyler Hilton, Gordon Larson for your top 5, then Michael Taylor, Brandon Meir, Todd Merkel, Ryan Kelly, Michael Pratt, top 10. And 11th is DJ Mitzel, Len McNeese, 12th, Hilton Young, Sean Wilder, Dustin Franklin for top 15, and then 16th, Eric Blount. With Cole Spalding, Colin Allman, and then back to the rest of the field here. Your finishers will be at 19th, John Garrett, Cade Green in 20th, Robert Smith 21st, Hemi Girodini comes home in 22nd, Robert Kahn at 23rd, Tim Lee at 24th, and Derek Paulson sitting on the couch enjoying the race. The old school, well, not in the cockpit. If it comes home in 25th. So, good race here tonight by VVR, and some, I don't want to say ill-placed cautions, but sure did mix things up here at the end.
We got our top three here in for their interviews, and we're not going to waste any time. We'll get right to it here after 100 laps at Kansas. Third place here tonight is going to go to the 39 of James Yerger. James, you had a good qualifying effort up there in fourth, and it seemed like pit strategies were a little bit mixed up throughout this race, with some drivers taking tires on that first pit stop, a majority waiting until the second one to take tires, and around that second one is when the first caution came out and kind of really mixed up this field.
Yeah, I was looking good regardless if the caution came out or not. Part of me wanted the caution not to, but it eliminated the big gap that the guys who had taken tires in that first stop had, so it pretty much was to our benefit. But that second caution, didn't want to see that one.
Well, you're still up there at the end, and it looked like you had some speed. You were battling there with Dalton Kilmer for a little bit, and I thought you had a couple peaks there to try and get the second place, but it looks like, you two, unfortunately, were watching that 3 drive away of Cody Griffin. Was there anything either you could have done there at the end to try and, reel him in, or did he just get too good of a jump on you and just stretch it out too far?
If we had another 5 laps, I think we would have had him, but we could tell throughout the entire race that he took off on new tires, and within about 15 laps or so, he started backing up to us, and that's kind of what happened there. But I know for one, I got into the wall once or twice, didn't get any damage, but it just kind of slowed me down a little bit to where I couldn't really get a run to get up there.
Well, listen, you get yourself a podium here tonight, so either way, it's a good finish. Maybe not the finish that you ultimately wanted, but either way, a good finish nonetheless. So, congrats on your podium finish here. Who do you want to give a shout out to or thanks to?
Give a shout out to Dalton, not Dylan. Tim and the guys who run the league. This league is by far the best league I've run in, and it's always. Everybody's so respectful. They race hard, but it's clean, and you'd never see anybody getting hooked or anything. Nobody getting intentionally wrecked, and most of the time it's fairly caution free. So, and that's rare to see in pretty much any league. So, I appreciate everybody for that.
Well, it was a good run for you here tonight, and congrats on the third place here again. Wish you luck on the last couple race of the season, as you're only 2/3 of the way through this thing, so hopefully we'll see the 39 out there once again pretty soon.
Yep, I'll be here, and thank you guys, and have a good night, guys.
I appreciate it, buddy. That is your third place finish here tonight, 39 of James Yerger. Second place here tonight, going to go to the 41 of Dalton Kilrow.
Dalton, Jimmy, and Carl up in the booth. You copy, buddy?
Yeah, I copy.
An interesting night here. A couple cautions, a lot less than last week, that's for sure. Getting some good runs out there, some pit stops, and cautions kind of falling your way here just a little bit, able to kind of help you secure that top 3 finish here. Cody seemed to have the speed here, and then you looks like you maybe one got away because of the late caution. But give us a little rundown of your race here tonight. of your race here tonight, and tell us how much you're enjoying that large lead that you have for the season so far in the points.
It's definitely nice to have that buffer, just in case the bad nights become really bad nights. No, that caution definitely. If that caution didn't come out, I have Cody covered. He was quick on fresh tires, but he would have had so much of a gap that he would have had to close up from doing a short pit, and I would have just had fresher tires, and would have been able to get back around him. But having that caution bring him right back up to me, and then getting loose with him and Todd both kind of taking air off my spoiler in 1 and 2, that just wasn't great. That's why I about looped in front of the field, and I just gave him the track position, let him scoot away. So I was just trying to keep the tires on it at least long enough because I figured he'd burn it up, and well, I guess he did a good enough job for once saving tires. So good job to him. I'll take P2, and even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Yeah, blind squirrels continue to live, and you finish here in second place here tonight. And as always, I want to say congratulations and recognize the number 41, but we're going to give you some time for any shots you might have on that car here tonight.
Good to thank Orman Barbaco, Team Watson Racing Setups, Hilton Craftsman Designs, Forward Screen Printing, Goldline Guardians. You guys, obviously, for doing the broadcast for us. Everybody at home for tuning in. And everybody on the league admin squad for putting this league together. It's always fun to come out here and have some hard battles. I know Cody and I had a pretty crazy battle there for a few laps after, I think, the first round of green flag pit stops. Also got to thank Jurger and the con man. I know tonight was not a good night for the con man. He got messed up under the green flag pit stops, and then as soon as he gets back on the lead lap, throughputs and gets dropped from the session.
I said to Jimmy, I didn't realize he was in the race until he throughput. That's how bad of a night it was for him.
Yeah, that caution was a blessing for him because it got him back on the lead lap. And then 5 laps later, I see Robert Kahn has packet loss. I was like, oh no. And then about 10 seconds later, he's out of the Discord channel. I was like, oh man, he takes a break from racing and comes back, and that happens. Oh man, might be a while before we see him again. But anyway, hey,
yeah,
at least we get a break next week, and on to the last little stretch.
Yep. You guys get next week off, and then you'll be back here the following week. So yeah, enjoy your week off. Enjoy your second place finish here. I appreciate the shout outs as always, and we'll let you go celebrate this one with your friends and family.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
That is your second place finisher tonight, the points leader, the 41 of Dalton Kilroe. Top spot here tonight is going to go to the 3 of Cody Griffin. Cody, we definitely seen that 3 have some short run speed. You were able to get out there in the lead a couple times, especially there at the end, and really break away from the field. I think you got out to about a 1.7 second lead, but I was kind of wondering, is the run going to be short enough? Because I know later in the run that the field kind of started reeling in there at the end. 20 laps to go is when he took the green flag, and I think if it was 25, it might have been a different story, but it wasn't. You get the win here tonight.
Yeah, it definitely was close there, to say the least. I knew I had to be aggressive when we got that final restart, and I wasn't going to break my momentum if I didn't have to. It got really tied up off 2. I packed a bunch of air on Kilroe's left rear, and it got him loose, and that's all I needed was to just get by him and then run as hard as I could, and that's what I did all night long. To me, it seemed like it was kind of hard to pass. To me, the setup built tight. Everybody else said it was pretty neutral, but I drive a lot freer than most people do too, so that's probably a lot of it. But all in all, good night. It was fun. I had fun. Me and the 39 raced really hard. We were talking about that in the waiting room to get pulled for the broadcast, and we had fun. I had fun, and looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, it looked like about maybe 8 laps to go, maybe a little bit less than that is when the lead really started diminishing on you. Was there ever a point where you were kind of backing up yourself to try and maybe conserve a little bit of tire in case he got to you to try and battle, or were you just full throttle the entire way?
Well, so when we fired off, I was kind of confused at first. I was like, man, they're like way back there. Like, I did not expect, I expected to get out maybe half a second on them, but I didn't expect to get out almost 2 seconds, and I was like, man, they might be saving tire. Like, this run might be a little too long for my liking. And sure enough, about 12 to go, I seen Kilroe starting to gain on me about a 10th a lap, and I was like, oh man. And I had honestly made my mind up. I was like, we're not going to win this race. We're going hang on and try to finish third, but I knew I didn't have anything for Dalton, and I wasn't going to have nothing for the 39 either by the time I got done battling Dalton, trying to at least. So I was kind of ready to finish third, and then when they got about 8 tenths back of a second on me, I kept looking, and I maintained that for 2 or 3 laps, and I'm like, man, I might get this if I just hit my marks, don't blow the right front off of it, and luckily was able to come home with a win. So.
Yeah, I know sometimes you get to a point where you're trying to chase a driver down, and you almost get to like a bubble. The way I look at it is that you're gaining. All of a sudden, you get to a point where you're all of a sudden not gaining. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And maybe that's what happened here tonight. A little bubble action for Dalton Kilroe, wasn't able to really fully end. But I mean, not your first time in the top 5 for the season. It's your 4th top 5 of the season, but finally get the top spot here and get up here to chance to talk to us. But we will now step aside and let you do some talking here and give any shout outs or thanks that you may have on that number 3 here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to be in the broadcast booth. Finally got a win this season. I was racing every week with the league up until about 2 months ago, and then race season started up in my area in real life, and I run limited late model and late model stock in North Carolina. So I have to put that first and this second, obviously getting that ready during
just
the week.
barely.
So,
just barely.
Yeah. So, I come on here and I run with the league when I can. Me and Tim are really good friends. Tim helps me out some on my car when he can. And, I've known Tim for probably going on 10 years now, right at it. And he's always been super nice, super polite, gave me a place to race when I had time to get on here and do it. And I love coming and supporting him anytime I can and giving him shout outs at the racetrack and giving the league shout outs. So appreciate y'all for broadcasting. Pete Stewart, guy that helps me on a race car, he's at home watching. He usually watches these. He likes it. So hey, Pete, and to his wife, Robin, and hopefully we'll see y'all next week.
Absolutely, buddy. Well, congrats again on the win here tonight. Wish you luck in real life as well. But while you're here, definitely enjoy this win. We'll see you in a couple weeks as you guys get a break off here, and we'll see you in Texas in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. See y'all. Thank y'all.
That is your winner here tonight, the 3 of Cody Griffin. The run at the end was just short enough to make that short run speed car here tonight work as the 3 finally cracks through, gets the win here tonight. I want to thank everyone out there again for tuning in. If you haven't done so yet, hit that thumbs up and hit that subscribe to get you in touch with everything that CRN has to offer. If you're not done with racing here tonight, we got the Core GT series going on right now. You can check them out with John and Mike on the mics over there for that one. But I want to thank our sponsors here one more time, that being Fort Worth Screen Printing, Golden Line Guardians, and Hilton Crafts and Designs. But for myself and Jimmy from Kansas Speedway, we'll see you at the track.
Peace.